Alrighty, good early afternoon, good morning if you're still in Central Time Zone. Welcome to another Wednesday edition of course in the All Out Night. Hi, how are we all doing today? Let's I'll turn on the fine. Hi everybody, how are we all doing today? Let's shut that off. Okay. Hi everyone. Welcome to Outlaw Radio episode 30. This is a bit of an impromptu one. I had been trying to decide for the last couple of days what I was going to talk about. I had a couple of topics that were really important on my mind. And then events this last week and this last weekend really kind of kicked me in the creatives. And I felt like I had something I really want to talk about today. So we are going to talk, obviously, about this weekend's amazing AAA main event in the Noche de El Grandes, which was pretty fantastic for those of you who are in the wrestling world, which I assume most of you are, seeing as how, of course, this is pretty much who I am, but we'll get into that in just a little bit. Thank you very much, everybody that's going to be here and all that other stuff. Please feel free to share that out. Just so we're clear, what we got here? Hey! Thank you for being here, little freak. All right. Let's get this started the way we always started here before I get completely out of control. Welcome to Outlaw Radio. This is episode 30. This is a weekly live stream that I try to do where I'm going to talk about everything from wrestling to the creative arts to mental health to struggles to fitness to anything that's pretty much on my mind that does make it very difficult to become a, shall we say, algorithmically pleasing thing. But this is where I'm at. I try to do like a live radio show about a whole bunch of different things. So who am I and why should you care? I am the Outlaw Night. I've been a professional wrestler since 1995, based out of Winnipeg, Manitoba. I have had the privilege of traveling all across Canada, through the United States, and had a couple of cups of coffee overseas in Japan, where I've had the chance to compete with, meet with, and examine the culture of all different types of areas and people around the world, not just in the world of wrestling, but outside of it. In addition to that, I'm also a creative soul. I am an author. I do have books that are available right now. You can catch my books here. Cowboy Ending, Justice League, the first two books in my series. I'm working on a fourth book in the series right now for all of those things and all of the books. If you're interested in having that be a thing, that's not what I wanted here. Get away from that. Yes, there are all my books available. If you go to the QR code right up above me right now, you can go to my link tree where you can get a chance to find links to all of my books online, available in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover. And also, if you don't mind at all and you want to have me spread across your chest there, you can go to one of the t-shirt sites on there on Pro Wrestling Tees or on Great White North Wrestling and get yourself several of the items. This, of course, is my custom Outlaw Night logo. Yes, Canadian made, established in 1995, because I am a gray-haired old man. So, hey, Elizabeth, thank you for being here, man. Thank you for being here. I appreciate that. And I'd say cool. Please let me know when you're there next. That'd be awesome. All right. So today's topic is going to be a little different, and only because I want to combine a couple of different things if I can. And this is going to be a challenging thing to weave through, or maybe I'm just making too much of it. Because I want to talk about, that crazy event that happened in Monterey just over the weekend between El Grande Americano and El Grande Americano as they battle for the pride and the soul of the Mexican people and more. Yes, this right here, for those of you who don't know, hey, Miles, good to see you. For those of you who don't know, this is El Grande Americano, the now biggest star in AAA in Mexico. So if you're a Lucha Libra fan at all, and you see this man in this mask, you know exactly what I'm talking about. For those of you who don't know, I'm going to break it down for you as best I can. So here's the deal. Where to begin? What we had in this match this last weekend was kind of an anomaly. And in fact, we'll probably never have it again. For you see, we had two men wearing identical style masks wrestling under the same name. It began as something of a joke on WWE television, where Olympic athlete and guy trying to find his way in the world, Mr. Chad Gable, decided he had a bone to pick with luchadors and Mexican wrestlers, and ostensibly went down to Mexico to study under the greatest of all time, to learn about the Mexican culture, to learn about Lucha Libre, and so that way he could, find a way to become better than them, to absorb them into his style, to make him an even better professional wrestler. Along the way, he pretended to have disappeared, and he became the villainous, cartoonish heel of El Grande Americano. And for a time, it was working. He was having an opportunity to wrestle with some higher quality folks, to have some really interesting matches. His match at WrestleMania 41 against Rey Fenix was simply spectacular. Correction, the El Grande Americano match against him was simply spectacular. But then a terrible thing happened. He had a very serious injury, and he had to go away for 6 or 7 months. Now, obviously, they'd invest all this time and effort into WWE had into creating this brand, and they didn't want to let it go to waste. So I don't know if it was a joke. I don't know if it was a happenstance or whatever, but they found tall, blonde, German, looks nothing like Chad Gable, wrestler by the name of Ludwig Kaiser. And they put him in the El Grande Americano outfit. Now, doing this on WWE North American television was treated as a joke. He was treated as a clown, and he was not really given an opportunity to really shine. It was filler TV. But since in the last year, WWE purchased the AAA brand in Mexico and are really trying to develop it into something, they kept sending Kaiser down there. What they didn't expect with this, let's call it a joke, with this sort of backhanded idea, was that Ludwig Kaiser would get over. Now, the Mexican people are not dumb. This is not the 1950s, 1960s anymore, where people have a lot of questions. They know, because they're wrestling fans, who the man, the taller El Grande Americano was and who he is. But what they got was a gentleman who came down, actually did the things that Chad Gable was talking about doing. He embraced the Mexican culture. He absorbed himself amongst it. He was kissing babies. He was going out to events, learning the music. He speaks Spanish already. Just those things alone endeared him in such a way to the Mexican people, to the Mexican Lucha Libre fan base, that they treat him as one of their own. They treated this Eastern German, tall, blonde fella as if he was somebody born down the road in El Pueblo. It is something absolutely astonishing to behold. And this last weekend, of course, the blood feud came to an end. The original El Grande came back. And then down in AAA, down in Mexico, they found many different ways to expand that feud until finally they did the thing that had to happen. They had the Máscara contra Máscara, mask versus mask match just this last Saturday. And not only did the Mexican people eat it all up with a spoon, the company itself presented this as if it was the biggest match possibly in the history of the company. And they might be right. I watched a match. I've seen this match 3 times already, of both the English and the Spanish commentary, and both are phenomenal. Watching this match, you realize how badly this audience is living and dying with the drama they're seeing in the ring. And it is drama. I don't like to use the cliche of it's cinema too often, but that's what this was. The presentation of the American heel trying to absorb the Mexican culture for his own selfish purposes versus the German Eastern European fella who came to the country, who embraced the people, who in turn embraced him to the point where, he actually said in one of his interviews that, a Mexican is born wherever they choose, is basically saying that as of this moment, he considers himself one of them, one of their people. He's choosing to identify as a Mexican. Now, the match itself is phenomenal. The action's great. In no way do they really break the mold as far as, creativity, as far as like in-ring spectacle, but they told the exact exact story they needed to tell. The Mexican hero defeated the American wannabe. In the end, the American wannabe announced who he really was, which of course is not a surprise, but that isn't the point. Announced who he really was, showed humility, showed respect, and as a result of it, in defeat, Chad Gable became a greater hero to the world of Mexican wrestling than he was coming in as a villain. Hello, Sean. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everyone, for being here today as I do my monologue here. But it is very funny. And it hadn't occurred to me so much as I was watching this match at first and watching the storyline until we got to the beginning of Pride Month. And it didn't occur to me until just then just how important identity is in all aspects in life. And I've said many times that professional wrestling is the mirror to our world. It is the broadest presentation from a character and creative perspective that we can have as people to showcase the best and the worst of us amongst people across the planet. It is a kabuki play. It is Shakespeare, as I said last week with Alden. It is all of those things and more. But what it really is, when you get right down to it, I think, is an opportunity for us as people, as performers, as wrestlers, to express ourselves in the way that we choose to the people of the world. And if we do it with sincerity and humility and integrity, we will be accepted for who we are. And I think going into Pride Month, where people are constantly being questioned for how they identify themselves, how they gender themselves, how they name themselves, their pronouns, all the rest of it, I think that it's very important for us to make that clear distinction that, as long as we're coming out with love and appreciation and we're presenting ourselves honestly to the world, if we do it with sincerity and with love, then we will be accepted. And I think that's a beautiful message. Was that what they were trying to do this last Saturday? As Kaiser and Gable decided to battle who's the greatest El Grande Americano? No. No, it was not. But wrestling is super gay, and it has been for a long time. Tights and oil and leather boots and presentation and music and streamers and all the confetti and glitter and lights and pyro. It's pretty gay. And I mean that in the most awesome way possible. As a guy who has leather chaps and a denim jacket and a big old cowboy hat and leather boots that he wears to the ring, it is what it is. And I think it's wonderful. And I think it's beautiful. And I'm sick of the world judging people for how they choose to identify. So much out there I want to say about that, but I'm going to get negatively canceled by people in my life. But I don't care. I don't care. It is important. It is awesomely fabulous. It is exactly right, Laserbolt. If you take one thing away from this week's episode of Outlaw Radio, please take this. Be like El Grande Americano. Be the most genuine, honest version of yourself. And if that means you have to wear a mask for a while, that's okay. But if that's genuinely part of your soul, part of your personality, and you want to use that as a way to express yourself going forward to the people in your life, to the people in your community, I think that's wonderful. Identity is so huge. Identity is so huge. I identify as the Outlaw Adam Knight. By identifying that way, I let you all know part of myself that I wish to share. The strong, the gritty, the kind of gray-haired and grizzled, occasionally angry, but hopefully very heartfelt and genuine version of myself. And I present that to you, and I hope you accept that, me, for who I am in that regard. And that's all I've got for today. It's a bit of a short one. Size matters not. It's a different story. But that's also about identity as well. Thank you for being here today. If you get a chance, go while you're on YouTube anyway, go search the match I'm talking about. It's all over the place. It's got like 2 million views already. It's fantastic. Again, if you're here for your first time, thank you very much for being here. Please like and subscribe. I do this every week. I do it at different times over the course of a Wednesday, but that is as it is. I want to thank Laserbolt, my regular guy, from being here, from Ken's stream. Sean, Little Freak, Mouse, thank you all for being here as well, for everyone that's joining in right now. If you're here on the rewatch crew later, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the importance of identity and acceptance in the world today and how important that is to you. And if you don't mind, please hit the QR code up above my shoulder here. Go to my link tree, take a look for my books, my merchandise, and more. Have a great day. Take care of yourself, everybody. And till next week, when I'm probably going to have a guest. I haven't decided who's going to want to join with me on that one yet, but I'm sure it'll happen. Have a great time. Lots of love to you all, and thanks for watching.